Vernon is over analyzing it
But that's
because
why we're here to do online analyze a film for you, so you don't have to do so. Hi, I'm Vernon, and this is Kit, and we just watched Alita Battle Angel. Kit, what did we just watch?
we watched an otaku wet dream that was better than the trailers.
We watched a film that James Cameron wrote, produced, and then passed up on directing. Rosa Salazar is a 300-year-old, discarded, disused, barely functional cyborg whose spare parts Christoph Waltz finds 300 years after the apocalypse. Big
Mars?
battle between Mars and Earth kind of ended all civilization on Earth, and now everyone is living a cyberpunk wet dream.
It's a bit like Elysium.
But this is a better world than Elysium because the poor struggling masses get to watch Motorball, or as the characters in this room call it, Murderball.
For me, the movie is more of just like a straight action movie.
Without much of a story. I mean, if you wanted,
the story's okay.
If you came for the story, it's basically the girl that Christoph Waltz finds in trash compactor has to figure out or wants to figure out why she's there, who she is, and what she needs to do next. This movie is based on the first 3 to 4 volumes of the Battle Alita Angel manga. What you get is really the opening arc of a really long series,
which is complete in itself.
It is kind of complete for itself, except it has that one really terrible cliffhanger at the end.
One of the problems with movies is that even for like supposed slums, they tend to make it look beautiful
and very entertaining. I mean that there are bars and salons for you to get drunk and have fist fights
with beautiful lighting. Bill Pope.
Yeah. For a slum, for the only slum left on Earth, this is kind of comfortable living.
They got the same problem with the population's not big enough to support. What's that floating city? What, Zope? I couldn't really hear.
Let's just call it big floating city of elite
sky.
people in the sky whose people you never get to see, but everyone on the ground, the poor exploited masses, keep talking about because they want to get out of here and live in that big, beautiful city in the sky. And they do anything, everything to do it.
The plot doesn't really matter so much as the...
Yeah, it's like what you see in the trailer. It's really jumbled up. The girl, played by Rosa Salazar, gets in fight and beats up lots of people. And it involves lots of slicing of metal parts. Basically, motocross is, or any combat in this universe is like
it's a
Hugh Jackman movie where giant robots beat and trash each other up.
No, it's more like Terminator, where you can have violence, but the violence is against...
inconsequential.
It's against machines, yeah, so you can have your cake and eat it too. You can have the thrill of violence battles without really killing people. Well,
you get to see lots of gore, lots of limbs rent apart, but because the combatants are either robots or cyborgs, no one really dies.
I saw this mainly as an action movie with an above average plot, so you don't feel...
The choreography is good.
You don't feel that the story is just there just to string the action sequences together. And the action sequences were like nicely spread out. There were quite a lot of them, maybe 10, and they weren't too long. I mean, it's actually the movie is like it's almost perfect. Bill Pope, who the name was familiar, but I had to go and look him up, and he was actually the director of photography for all 3 Matrix movies, which means he's also, because of that, he's known for lighting virtual spaces, lighting special effects, where most of the scene is computer generated, which is the case here.
And I think the main studio that they hived the CGI onto was Weta, I think.
Weta. the Lord of the Rings people.
Yeah. And the director, of course, is no stranger to CGI action movies. Rodriguez did Sin City?
Rodrigo, Robert Rodriguez,
Ro-
or
Ro-
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. What does it look like?
Go,
Sin
go,
City?
go, go.
Just go. What else do you do besides Sin
Oh,
City?
Spy Kids, of course. Spy Kids is when I first started noticing him.
Right. What else? Oh, bloody hell!
So who did not put his phone to silent this time?
Sorry for the interruption.
Well, he did other kiddie movies. What, Shark Boy and Lava Girl, but that wasn't really successful.
Okay, but I think on a technical aspect, this is where I think Hollywood shines in action movies. This is a completely native American style that has developed independently of, let's say, the best, the so-called the best action choreographers from Hong Kong. The fighting styles in this movie were very well created. They look very special, especially since Alita is supposed to be the sole survivor of a war, and she's the only one on Earth after 300 years who can remember the so-called lost fighting martial art of Panzerkunst.
Which translates to armor art.
Yes, but they're kind of well named because it's supposedly a martial art form for robotic bodies.
It looks different, but it also looks very natural. It looks realistic. It's not repetitive. Also, even though there are so many fights, you don't really feel that you're seeing the same thing over and over again. But it still seems like it's part of the same fighting style.
Yeah, unlike, let's say, a lot of Hong Kong action movies, well, you've seen one Wing Chun incident, you've seen them all, and if you see something that's Wing Chun but doesn't remind you of Wing Chun, it's probably because it's fake Wing Chun.
Yeah, the Wing Chun thing's another story. Most of the supposed Wing Chun you see,
Like the one we saw in Master Z, was fake.
It's not Wing Chun.
Yeah.
The most realistic Wing Chun I've seen is in the first Donnie Yen Ip Man. Unfortunately, they kind of lost that in the subsequent movies. I don't know why.
Supposedly, one of the complaints in earlier reviews for Alita from elsewhere, we are not going to link to them, of course, say that the story is really generic. I personally don't think the story is that generic at all. I mean, yes, it has the amnesiac protagonist, which is kind of a mainstay in Japanese RPG, but not really a mainstay in normal storytelling, film storytelling.
No, it seems familiar to me.
This dystopian post-apocalyptic setting, the whole bifurcation of a faraway ruling class and, well, the poor schlubs.
But I think all that was overshadowed by Alita, the character.
Yeah,
That's what really made this movie work.
Yeah, she's about the only innocent player in this world, as Christoph Waltz's character says. Everyone in this world is kind of morally compromised. I kind of like how this plays out in very tragic, with somewhat tragic twists to all the main, almost all the main characters and even all the main villains.
Speaking as an otaku, the movie works because there's a cute girl who kicks ass. I mean, come on.
There's a cute girl who kicks ass, there's a kindly doctor who looks after her, there's a romantic interest who is, whom she should not even be getting involved with, but does. There's a...
Yeah, but Alita really steals the show. I mean, in any scene she's in.
Well, the way I look at it, Alita is the most fully fleshed out character in this film.
She's the most expressive too.
She's also most expressive. Everyone else is playing a type. But other than that, what I'm impressed with is that, no surprise there, Alita is bad news for whoever comes in contact with her, because everyone who comes in contact with a friend or foe ends up having a plot twist happen to them. Usually a nasty or tragic plot twist.
Yeah, but that was why in the middle of the movie she loses a fight very badly, and that was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so invincible after all.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, and yeah, that was a punch in the stomach. So that was effective storytelling.
Very effective. Yes, but for all the bad things that happen to other characters in this movie, I kind of like the storytelling goals here, because it's like everything bad that happens to all the other characters in the movie happens because of the class structure in this post-apocalyptic world, where everyone is sold out or sells someone out in order to get that golden ticket to live in the city up in the sky, whose name we do not remember. Jennifer Connelly plays the former spouse turned antagonist of this movie, or one of the antagonists of this movie, and she, like almost everyone else, is motivated and kept controlled by her wish to go live in that big city in the sky.
And she makes a surprisingly good bad guy.
Yes, I think she and the guy who is not Wesley Snipes.
In terms of like really basic storytelling technique, the use of foreshadowing, because this is James Cameron's script, and he's very good at foreshadowing. You could see it like in Terminator. Before something happens, it would have been like shown a bit earlier. It's very conventional storytelling. It might look a bit awkward if you're familiar with the technique, but it works. Before you see Alita kicking ass for the first time, she does do a little acrobatic thing, saving a dog from being crushed. And the other things, like walking up to the floating city in the sky that was mentioned earlier before they tried it. So yeah, small things like that. Cameron's very good at that. There are a lot of scripts where that isn't done, and you're wondering, hey, that guy doesn't know kung fu. Hey, where did he get that gun from? Alita on the screen is actually very expressive, more expressive than I expected.
She's got big expressive eyes, we'll put it at that.
It's not just the eyes. So I'm curious whether how much of that was really Salazar's performance, or did they actually tweak it in post? Because it's that good.
Or maybe it's because everything just looks a lot better with huge eyes on the actors.
No, it's not the eyes. I mean, she was like, you could see what she was thinking in different scenes. I mean, it was different. You could, it was like you could read her mind because she was so expressive, and it's not the eyes.
They say eyes are the windows to the soul.
No, okay. Batman, when he wears his mask, he's not very expressive. Batman, when he's wearing his mask, he looks really expressionless, even though you can see his eyeballs, because
the mask is really latex.
No, because the mask is covering the area around his eyes, and actually that's where the expressiveness comes from. Like if you take a blind person or someone who closes his eyes, he can still be expressive. So it's really the portion of the face around the eyes that matter.
I don't know what genre fans this movie really would entice. I mean, we've got a mix of genres. There's the manga/anime genre, there is the post-apocalyptic genre, there is also the cyberpunk genre, and I'm not too sure,
Well, I think a generic science fiction action genre would be enough.
Okay. I mean, it does certainly feel very generic.
It's supposed to be post-apocalyptic, but it doesn't really feel that way. And the way the world building was done, it's not necessarily post-apocalyptic. In terms of cyberpunk, not really, because I don't think you can have post-apocalyptic and cyberpunk, because cyberpunk is normally like a very high-tech future.
Grim, shitty, screwed up, but still high-tech.
Yeah, I think Bruce Sterling or William Gibson calls it high tech and low life.
Basically, a noir set in futuristic or high tech society.
But visually, there's a bit of Blade Runner in it.
Yeah.
The vehicles, the night alleys, and well, it's very hard to run away
The
from.
fog and all the mist is very, very Blade Runner.
But in contrast to Blade Runner, uh, maybe half the scenes are in like very bright sunlight, and the colors are like brighter than real. It looks very nice.
Post-apocalyptic films do sell you on the post-apocalypse, whereas this one doesn't. This one is just set after the apocalypse, but in no way does it give us the apocalyptic vibe.
Yeah, it's not Mad Max, that kind of like low-level survival. You still have, I mean, the city or the town is still like a functioning town. Yeah, so in that case, it's not really post-apocalyptic. I don't think it's really necessary to narrow it down to like a specific subgenre, because really, I think science fiction action works. The plot was good enough to carry the movie, but it was Rosa Salazar's performance and the special effects, the visualizations, and the fight choreography. I think all that worked very well together.
If I were to rank all three possibilities, I'd say the fight choreography was definitely, absolutely the aspect that made this movie work so well.
And the camera angles within the fights.
Yes, it's extremely well storyboarded. Do you watch it again?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm probably going to watch it again in a few days' time. I'm going to go back into the cinema and watch it. It's beautiful.
Think of the films that James Cameron has produced and directed and written. I think this is actually, I'd rate it in the higher half, or maybe even the top third.
I mean, even going back to like The Abyss, I mean, his storytelling, even though he's known for his effects work, but it's really his storytelling. Rodriguez's standard is pretty high. So, but yeah, I would put this in his top few.
Yeah, I think Rodriguez is a visualist, first and foremost.
No, he's a storyteller.
I think this has better storytelling than Sin City.
Spy Kids. You don't know how much was Cameron's work and how much Rodriguez tweaked it in the end. I don't think it matters.
But I think I'd like to see Cameron and Rodriguez team up again in future for more movies.
I'm not going to tell you to click like or subscribe. You're an adult. You know what to do.